Guys, it's Mike from Baltimore Rides here. I am checking in with you guys. It is Friday, August 4th, about 8 p.m. As most of you know from my video last night, I ended up starting the night later than usual. My daughter had a dance thing that Dad had to be there for, and she did a really good job, so I'm very proud of her. But now Daddy has to punch the clock and get to work. So I am making my way down to the airport. I am not going to pass through the city this time just because of where her dance thing was in Eldersburg. I cut down Liberty Road to 695, and I just feel, Friday evenings are a travel night. People getting back for the weekend or whatnot. So that's going to be my plan of attack, is to go right to the airport as my point A, see what happens from there. Especially with this new long trip feature that they've added. If I get a ride or two, and I know they're short rides, and and I kind of get a sense that that's how my mojo is going to be for the night, then I might bug out to the city. It's a beautiful night. Probably things are pretty active in Baltimore right now. But considering how I started late, my goal for the night on a normal Friday would be 200. I think tonight I'm going to shoot for 150, and if I can do 150, 4 hours in the hole, that's going to be a great night. So, starting the night off with a big fare or two from the airport will be a great jolt to the system to get the night rolling, and then I'll play it by ear as I kind of see what's going on. Something of interest, though, I was in Frederick last night. My final night of the night took me out there. First time Ubering in Frederick, and honestly disappointing. There was a tiny surge bubble right when I dropped off my customer, but the only ride request I got out of it was 17 minutes away, and honestly at that point in the night, where I was and where I wanted to wrap up, I declined it. And I don't mean to be heartless, but I kind of got the impression, and this was just my instinct telling me, I was going to drive 17 minutes to pick somebody up and take them 3 minutes down the road. And is it worth driving 20 minutes out of my way, especially off 70, which is the only route away from there, for a $5 fare? And I said no, not time well spent, so I'm going to bug out. And that's one of the luxuries I have. My acceptance rating is 98%. My cancel rate is, I think, 6%. So, if you take every ride and you try not to be stingy or picky, then that affords you the luxury of being able to do a cancel or just not an accept when you have the time. So that's kind of where I am. I am at BWI right now. I'm just kind of making my way to the holding lot, and we will see how things go tonight, guys. This could be a really good week for me. If I can, hit 1,100 this week, that would be phenomenal. And if I can do 150 to 200 every night, tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, this could be my all-star highest week ever. And it was, really because of a great start to the week, and just, it stayed strong all the way through. I didn't really have any bad days that shot me in the foot, despite weird, crazy monsoon weather. So, my strategy is evolving. I'm not going to say I'm addicted to the airport, but I do think it's a good source of revenue. I did $150 on 5 customers. So, you want to talk about good average. That's a great average. It would take 20 to 30 customers to do that solely in Baltimore. So, same miles roughly. I mean, it was 200 miles. So it's similar mileage. It's just, can I do it in a couple singular rides versus a whole bunch of little $3, $4 rides back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, that's the age-old question. I'm not going to say one or the other and draw my line in the sand. I'm going to say, if I'm having a bad night, I go to the airport. Or if I'm having a bad night at the airport, I go to the city. You got to have multiple options. So that's the lesson learned, guys, is you should have plenty of different hunting grounds and plenty of different ways you can carve up your evening. when I was down at that ride that took me near Dulles, I went to Dulles. What the hell? Let's go Dulles Airport. Let's sit through their queue and see if I get a ride out of Dulles that's good. And I did. I got one all the way up to Bethesda, so Chevy Chase. So, not the actor, the town. So, let's just see what happens tonight. Fingers crossed that we have another strong, good night. Positive energy, positive mojo, and hit it hard and rock and roll. And tips are starting to be more consistent through the apps, so I feel pretty good about that. What I really like about electronic tipping with Uber is they roll in kind of later, a day later, 24 hours. I don't know what the time limit is. Some people tell me they have 24 hours. Some people tell me they have 72. I don't have the official answer on that, but I notice that, the number I finish at when I shut down at the end of the night is a lot different than the number a day later when I'm turning back on. So people must be going back into the app, finally rating me later, and then adding tips on at that point. So it's kind of like a neat little residual income effect where, you book your night and then, 24 hours later you found out, oh, I got $15 extra in there from tips that I didn't realize, because customers went back in and tipped you after the fact. So very, very cool. I don't like the fact that we have to rate them instantly before we can go on to our next passenger. And I also don't like the fact that Uber doesn't allow you to add comments. I think comments for the riders is just as important as comments for the drivers. So maybe that's something that they'll work on down the road, but we will see. I'm here. I'm going to let you guys go and wish me luck. Hey guys, it is Mike from Baltimore Rides here. It is Saturday, August 5th, and I'm just doing the wrap-up portion of my Friday night video. As you guys know, I got started a little bit later than usual. And, because of that, I did not get anywhere near the numbers that I normally would on a Friday, I'm not going to lie. Ended up just south of $100. In the 90s, and I'm not too terribly disappointed with that number. Given that I kind of started later, I really missed the early portion of the Friday night rush, which honestly, that's kind of the peak. I mean, the business people flying out of the city or departing the city via train, that's where the money's at. And, by the time I really kind of hit the ground running, I got one good ride, and then the rest of it was really all downhill from there. So not the end of the world. I'm not really disappointed in that whole process. Tomorrow should be more of a normal Saturday. I will see some business in the city, I'm sure. I'll probably end up in and around the airport at some point. But I don't know what time I'm going to finally get started after the thing I've got to go to tomorrow. So we'll just kind of see. The good news is I've already got 730, so 740. Looks like 740 in between Uber and Lyft. It's 630 or 640 bucks with Uber, and then I think it was $128 or $138 with Lyft. So, whatever that math turns out to be, it's 700 and something. With 2 more days to go, should be able to hit 1,000, 1,100 easy this week. And that's really great. That would be a nice, strong week considering the days I lost last week and kind of what that did to my final number. So, you got to kind of grind it out sometimes, and obviously this has been one of those weeks, but it's definitely worth it. That's how this game works, is that when you need to take off, you take off, but when you can work, you got to work. So I'm still sticking to my kind of evening schedule. I haven't really deviated from that too much, and I think that that's a good thing because it keeps my body clock fairly regular. And it's, that's going to be important in 30 days or so when the kids go back to school. So, that's kind of where we are. I'm going to wrap it up real quick here. Definitely think there's money to be made at the airport, but you know, tonight was kind of hit or miss. I got a good one to Annapolis, and then I got a bunch of crappy ones, you know, local rides. So it's, you know, it's kind of the luck of the draw. And, you know, I could have just as easily, I could have just as easily kind of bugged out and gone up to the city and done the bar scene. And that might have been a more strategic thing to do, but 795, the camera mount always bounces. I'm holding the phone now. But, you know, at some point or another, I like the idea of, you know, less rides, more profit versus lots of little rides and, again, potentially not a lot of profit. So, you know, that's where I think Saturday's business is going to vary. I might not see a lot of airport business on a Saturday. I might end up in the city, you know, making money there. So we'll just have to kind of play it by ear and see what happens. I am going to sign off, guys. It's going to be kind of a short night, and we'll hit it tomorrow. See you guys later. Have a good night.